Hello everyone, welcome to the EPL preview show. So, finally we are done with game week 6 and this has been another crazy week in the English Premier League. We had the full set of 10 games, every 20 teams playing this weekend, and some results were actually out of the park. So, let's get started straight up with the action with our first game, which was on a Friday. The Friday kickoff, Aston Villa, number 2, won every single game so far. They were playing at home and welcoming Leeds United, the newly promoted team from the Championship. So how did this game go so far? We were thinking Aston Villa, with immense form, immense talent so far this season, they might be going ahead and then snatching a win in this one. But then Leeds United and their young striker Patrick Bamford stole the show. Patrick Bamford scoring a hat-trick. He made it look so easy, as if he's playing Premier League for over the years. So this was a 3-0 win for Leeds United. The way they have been playing this season, they had actually about more than 27 to be exact, 27 shots on target against Aston Villa. And Aston Villa, they were the best defensive team so far before the start of this game week. And then they conceded 3 unanswered goals from Patrick Bamford and Leeds United. And seems like Aston Villa are slowly getting to their gear. Maybe they will start losing points now, comparing how they played. But if they continue their defensive form as they have shown in the previous weeks, they still have a chance to fight in the top 10 for the season. But again, Leeds United will be the story of the season for the English Premier League this season. And as I predicted before the season started, I can definitely see them finishing in the top 10. And maybe there's a big shout out, depending on how the season pans out, they might be knocking on the door for the top 6. Because Marcelo Bielsa and the Leeds United, the attacking football they play, they bring such promise to the Premier League. And this is what we love to see, new teams coming in straight from the Championship and going straight into the action. So I believe this is a great result for Leeds United. They go into the top 6, 3 points into the top 4, I believe. So hopefully, let's see if they continue their form in the coming matches ahead. So that was our early Friday game, the first game of the weekend. Then we had about 4 games on Saturday, with the first game being early kickoff between West Ham United and Manchester City. Manchester City have been dropping points lately, but they got one against Arsenal last week, winning 1-0, which was a dull game for both sides, but Manchester City finishing the job, winning 1-0. And then they're traveling to West Ham United London Stadium for this game, and then this time they lost points again. The game ending in a 1-1 draw. West Ham United are they have been playing decently, but they have been taking points from a lot of teams. They got a point from Tottenham Hotspur the previous week, drawing 3-0. That was an exciting game last weekend. And this weekend they won. They got points of Manchester City. So this is points drop from Manchester City. This is the type of games where you should be winning games and getting the 3 points, getting the job done, and putting your satisfactory position on the top 4. So this is another not a satisfactory result for Manchester City. West Ham United will be pleased with this, so they will be hoping to build on this again, comparing how they fared up against Tottenham Hotspurs and now Manchester City. So points lost for Manchester City. They will be looking to bounce back again next week. Let's see how they fare up. The next game on the season we had was Fulham playing Crystal Palace at home. Fulham have been the worst of all the 20 sides this season. And as predicted, I was going for a Crystal Palace win, and Crystal Palace indeed ended up winning 2-1. Wilfred Zaha show again. He scored and assisted, I believe, and Crystal Palace will be happy with the result. These are the type of games which Crystal Palace will have to win if they have to stay consistent in mid-table, because I don't see them finishing in the top 10, or I don't see them getting relegated as well. But these are the type of games, around the teams which are fighting around the oppositions. So if you get the job done, that's more 3 points, and then you are making sure your position is not salvaged or taken care of. So good 3 points for Crystal Palace. Fulham, strong contenders. It's my bet on them to get relegated. So it won't be too long, until the season ends, unless Fulham does something crazy before the season. So let's see how they fare up. Next up we had is Manchester United playing at home to Chelsea, the big Saturday game for this past weekend. And I was expecting Manchester United on comparing how they played over the previous weeks. They played well against Newcastle United, scoring 4 goals, and they were running the show that game. And they followed up with a 2-1 win against Paris Saint-Germain. So building on that confidence, I was going for a Manchester United win, but this game was pretty dull, I can say, or maybe it was a defensive masterclass from both the teams. So I would like to mention Edouard Mendy, the Chelsea goalkeeper. I believe if he wasn't making those saves and some exciting defensive setup from him, I believe Manchester United would have got the 3 points. But Edouard Mendy and the defense was well for Chelsea. There was a shout for penalty for Chelsea in the first half where Harry Maguire brought down Cesar Azpilicueta in the box. I don't know, the VAR has been crazy since it started last season. It has not been consistent. It has been making controversies rather than giving the right decisions. So this game ended in a 0-0 draw. None of the teams scoring. I believe there's a points loss for either teams, but considering how the other teams fared, they should be happy with this result. At least they have 1 point in the bag for each of the teams. But for both teams, I believe they'll have to come back stronger next week and put an attacking show so they can, if you see at the statistics, Manchester United have about 12 to 13 shots. Chelsea playing away 7 to 8 shots. Not so good. If they can, tear up defenses, considering how many signings Chelsea have made. So you have to expect Chelsea to, make more attacking runs, more dangerous runs in the box. But that wasn't the case. So Frank Lampard is still trying to get the best out of the teams he has assembled with the huge amount of money he has spent. So it'll be interesting, on what is the starting 11, because I'm still confused on what Frank Lampard is trying to do and what is his proper starting 11 going ahead. So let's see. Hopefully it's an easy game for them next week, and then let's see if they can get the 3 points coming ahead. And Manchester United, they play midweek in the Champions League. Let's see how they fare up. But I believe there should be points lost at home for Manchester United, considering how well they played in the previous 2 games in Europe and in the English Premier League. Next game we have is Liverpool playing at home to Sheffield United. Sheffield United got an early shock lead, scoring through a penalty, which I believe was not a penalty. Again, some VAR controversy right there. So, but Liverpool at the end getting the job done, scoring 2 goals later. Firmino on the score sheet, and 2-1 win. So Liverpool, after that thrashing from Aston Villa, I think they'll be back on the heels of finishing or fighting for the title again this season. But they just played today. They played in the Champions League, and the news is they lost another centre back to injury. So now we have Virgil van Dijk injured, Joel Matip injured, Fabinho is the one I believe who got injured. So currently Liverpool are only good. They only have 1 fit centre back in their starting lineup. So it'll be interesting to see how they come and how they play in the coming games. I'm not sure if their defense will be all over the place, considering Virgil van Dijk played in the thrashing against Aston Villa, and this is the season without fans. No one's in the stadium yet. So in the coming games, it will be interesting to see how Liverpool line up. But considering how really strong and how their depth is in the attacking format, we can always bet on them to score goals. You can hardly bet Liverpool to not score goals in any games. Even if they're losing, they at least end up scoring 2-3 goals in each games. So considering that fact, and they're always scoring goals, I can still see them. They are one of the teams who will be fighting for the title. Liverpool, Manchester City, and it's still too early for the title talk, but I believe Liverpool will be there, in the names always. So 2-1 win, Liverpool getting the job done, and 3 points for them. So they go into next weekend happy. So let's see how they fare up in the coming games. So next up we have games from Sunday. The first game was Southampton playing at home to the table toppers Everton. Yes, Everton are top of the table. They traveled to Southampton to get some points. Initially, I thought James Rodriguez would not be playing this game due to an injury, but he ended up playing. I believe he was deemed fit, but he struggled against Southampton away. Southampton actually, they were the better of the two sides against Everton. They ended up winning 2-0. Danny Ings, 2 assists, I believe. He stole the show. Dominic Calvert-Lewin was nowhere to be seen, and Everton were lacking some creative dynamic from their midfield. They have Sigurdsson starting, but then Lucas Digne got sent off in the second half. Southampton actually, they play at home, and when they play specifically at home, they come and they show up why they are a threat to play away from your own ground, St James Park. I'm sorry, St Mary's, not St James Park. So Southampton 2-0 win, big win for them. They'll get the 3 points. Everton won't be happy. This is their first loss of the season, and it should be done. So every team has been beaten so far. There'll be no invincibles, or no teams will be going so far, undefeated so far. So good result for Southampton. Everton will have to bounce back again next week. Let's see how they carry on this form. The next game for the Sunday we have is Wolves playing Newcastle United at home. 1-1 draw. Raul Jimenez on the score sheet again, but they conceded again in the last 10-15 minutes to Newcastle United. I believe there's a points lost for Wolves. These are some games, as I was mentioning about the Crystal Palace and Fulham game earlier. Like if you play the teams which you expect to finish in the bottom half of the table, if you can't get 3 points against them, it's difficult to sustain that momentum going ahead, and that builds on your confidence, because then you play the sides in the top 6 or the teams fighting for the title, and you may lose points and then your confidence goes down. So this was a confidence booster game for Wolves, but they were not able to come out with all 3 points. They lost out to Newcastle. Newcastle, on the other hand, would be happy with this point. It was away from home, and they have gotten beating by Manchester United last weekend. So considering that game, they would be happy, and they can build on this draw for the coming weekend's game and get some 3 points there. So Wolves will be in the mid-table still, but I think we'll be more clear about after 12-14 games who will be in the top 4, who will be fighting for the title, and relegation, who will be fighting for the relegation as well. So points lost. Next up, we had the last game from Sunday, Arsenal playing at home against Leicester City. Well. I was expecting a good result for Arsenal, considering Thomas Partey had an amazing debut midweek in the Europa League. Thomas Partey started. It was a very strong lineup from Arsenal. They're playing technically a 4-3-3 with Granit Xhaka falling back into the left centre back role when Kieran Tierney was moving ahead in the wing. So I was expecting Arsenal to win this game, but they were playing at home and they didn't score a single goal, and they were pretty dull. They were just passing around the ball a lot. There was no creative movement from the middle. They were trying a lot from the wings, but the end product was not there. Leicester City, Jamie Vardy coming off the bench and scoring a great counter-attacking goal with Mustafi, who was caught by Jamie Vardy, which ended up scoring. The game ended 1-0. Leicester City will be really happy with the result, and Arsenal, I'm not sure what to say here. They struggled the whole game. Even though I can say there was a shout out for Alexander Lacazette's goal, which should have stayed due to the VAR controversy. Again, there's a lot of controversies. VAR always in the news every single weekend. So that didn't stay. If that goal stayed, the complexion of the game would have been different. Arsenal might have, they have opened up. Leicester City might have opened up in a response to score a goal, but that didn't happen. And then Leicester City played the waiting game. They waited until the second half. They brought in Jamie Vardy, and then their plan worked out pretty well, perfectly as Brendan Rodgers would have executed. So Arsenal, they lost 3 points. This is, especially when you're playing at home, these are the type of games you should be, getting at least a draw or some points out of this game. But this is not the way they should be playing. They they have a good shout to finish in the top 6, but they have to figure out what's their best formation going ahead. In case, we have seen Arteta trying multiple formations, going with 3-4-3s, then we saw this 4-3-3 again. In Europa League, he played a 4-4-2. So I believe this is the best team which Arteta played against Leicester City. So if he can get the whole 11 which was fielded against Leicester City up and running, get the gel, especially the midfield, Granit Xhaka, Thomas Partey and Dani Ceballos, if they can get gelling in, it would be good for Arsenal going ahead. They have a tough game coming up against Manchester United next weekend away from home. So let's see if they wake up and then they show some intent going in this game, because they were all over the park. The defense was alright, but there was nothing going on in this game. Sideways passing, backwards passing, less forward passing, and Aubameyang is still looking for form in the Premier League. He hasn't scored at all in the last 5-6 games. He is on a dull patch right now. So hopefully he can find his form again. So it'll be good news for Arsenal. But let's see how they fare up in the coming week. Points lost for Arsenal, good result for Leicester City, and they'll be happy coming ahead in the coming games. Next up, we have the 2 games from Monday. First game being Brighton & Hove Albion playing at home to West Bromwich Albion. So 1-1 draw. Again, these are the teams who might be fighting for relegation. Brighton might just nick it through, but West Bromwich Albion, they got 1 point, so they are one of the teams who will be fighting for relegation. So considering that fact, it was a good result for them. They got 1 point. So hopefully West Brom, if they want to play well, they have to build on this performance and get some points off the top teams and then the teams which are fighting for relegation in the bottom half of the table. And the last game of the game week, we had Burnley playing at home to Tottenham Hotspurs. I was expecting a walk in the park for Tottenham Hotspurs, but that wasn't the case. Burnley gave them a tough fight. Burnley stayed back and defending well, considering how Tottenham have been playing and scoring goals for fun over the past week, especially with Heung-min Son and Harry Kane. But surprisingly, Burnley were the better side in terms of shots on target and compared to Spurs. So Spurs were not able to break Burnley apart, but finally a moment of brilliance from a corner. The corner went to Harry Kane, and Harry Kane heading into Heung-min Son, and Heung-min Son heading into goal. It is what we have seen the whole season so far. Those 2 players combining again, and they ended up that was the only goal of the game. And Spurs will be happy with that 1-0 win. They get the 3 points done, not considering how they were average at the most in this game, but they will be happy as they got the job done, and they will be breaking into the top 4, top 6 with that result. So good win for Spurs. And Burnley, again, they might be one of the contenders fighting for relegation if they do not find their form really quick. So this were the results from this weekend. What I would love to know what you guys think. Which teams were pretty dull and which teams were pretty impressive for this game week, and who do you think the team should do, or particular players who should be focused on in the coming week, and what they can bring to the table, and then how they can bring some value to the team and their performances in the coming weekends. So please let me know what you think. What were your surprising results? What would you think, which teams you want to finish in the top half, which teams you want to get relegated? And then I'll be back in less than 48 hours for my predictions for this coming week. Again, we have 10 games starting with the Friday early kickoff as well. So let me know what you guys think. Please comment in this video as well, and please like and subscribe to my channel. I'll be coming in with weekly updates and weekly previews and reviews of all the games for the Premier League, along with player reviews as well. So if you have any suggestions for my channel, if you think you want to know more about the players or particular teams, individual teams, just one video of teams, please do let me know, and I would be happy to make those videos. So until the next video where I give predictions and transfer news for your fantasy leagues, you guys take care, be safe, and then hopefully you enjoy the midweek games of the UEFA Champions League and UEFA Europa League. Until then, stay safe and be well. Take care, guys.